Now then, crew, and welcome to windy Wellington, and it hasn't let us down. It is windy as hell down here. I found a little quiet corner at, well, a Belgian pub, which I've frequented, Lief, I think it's pronounced, and here we are. Made it all the way to Wellington. Got all my jobs done, did some great training this afternoon, went out really well actually, using diagnostic tools. So, I need to log in to see what the hell's going on. Let's have a little look. Try again. It might work. Third time lucky. Well, no, it worked pretty well the other night actually. Let's have a look. Live now. That's me. There we are. Look. So we'll click on there and we'll see who's on board. Well, we're also waiting for the viewers to get here. Cheers. Another cider. So my apologies if Lief, I'm at the Lief restaurant, so here you go, the pub. So we're at your pub, mate. So yes, can you hear me okay? Hey, it really is windy. There goes the cigarettes. Jeez, cutlery's flying. Jamie and Wyman, welcome aboard. So, how's the audio? Yeah, sorry, maybe I can try and bring the whole thing a bit nearer. Hang on a minute. You're gonna have to put up with a close-up of Andy for a little bit longer. Hang on a minute, just bear with me. There you go. Jeez, how's that? Any better? Hopefully. I can't really do it much closer than that, unfortunately. So we're 1 minute and 42 seconds into the third of my live streams. This is the last one for this week, although I may do one Sunday morning down from the workshop, just to see how it works in the workshop. A little bit better, I think. Yes, hopefully. It's as good as it's going to get, people. I'm sorry, my apologies. We've got a glass screen behind the camera and a glass screen to the right, but there is little holes, so some wind is going to get through. But I'll do my very best, and it is, you know, a live broadcast, and you just got to go with whatever you can, really. A long day. All started this morning at 6 AM when I was answering emails. Some personal, some work-related, but you know, it had to be done before I hit the road. I did end up running a bit late, unfortunately, but I managed to catch up on time. It's a good car that I have, and get the training done on time this afternoon. Anyway, how was your day? What have you been up to? Let's have a little look. Wall at you. Damien Wyman, wall at you. Wall. Oh, well, where are you at? There you go. Type up. I'm in Wellington, Damien. Wellington, at the bottom of the, well, almost the bottom of the North Island here in New Zealand, obviously. And I've just driven down the last bit of the east coast, gone through a little place called Dannyverk, and then Carterton, and then made it over the hill. No idea what the hill's called. I'm not English. I'm never any good at these New Zealand names. I've been here 10 years, still can't pronounce them, so I'm not even going to try. Over the big hill, and then down into Wellington. And it's been a bit of a rush. I only just got to the pub in time. We got set up. Man, there's all sorts of stuff going through. Gary Hills, morning Andy from the UK. Did you get the parts for the compressor or did you fix it? Cheers, Gary. Well, believe it or not, I have fixed it. I'm going to do you a video over the weekend on what I did to fix it, but I'll tell you now because you guys, you may as well get a, you know, upfront information. The two brass components that failed, I basically drilled about and tapped them both M8. I didn't want to go too big because there wasn't a lot of material left. And then I got an M8 bolt and drilled the bolt on the lathe, took the head off, drilled the bolt, and then used some thread lock and wound that in to the first of the two components, the main valve. Used a couple of copper washers, you know, the banjo bolt washers, to take up the gap because I couldn't be bothered to file the bolt down anymore, and then wound on the second piece again with some thread lock until it was tight and the copper washers were compressed, because there was going to be some air leak up the side of the remaining old part of the small valve that was left in the large valve, the non-return valve. So I had to use the washers as well, but it's been working brilliantly, hence why I've done all the airlines. It's a 130 psi working pressure. That's when the air the wind noise is going to be terrible now because there's a big gust just went past, but hey, that's the way it goes. And I'm almost inclined not to do any more, although I did notice there was a small spring missing when I pulled the whole thing apart. Aidan, have a drink for me. I will. Cheers, Aidan. yeah, there was a small spring missing, but I had a rummage around, found something that would do, and that was on the small valve, which I believe, looking at it, is some kind of vacuum valve. It just prevents, I think, it just prevents any, you know, when the air's contracting in the tank and the air compressor's turned off, that allows atmosphere to go in so you don't end up with a vacuum in the tank. That's what I think it does, but I could be wrong. And, you know, there's been many opinions on what that valve does. Do you really need it? You probably do, actually. I don't want to go in there and find my tank imploded slightly. That's not good. And you don't need much vacuum to implode a tank like that because they're not designed for vacuum. They're designed for pressure. Anyway, so yes, you're going to see all sorts of weird views down in Wellington. There's some odd people down here and lots of students as well. And this is sort of what I call the new part of Wellington. There is another bit further down the coastline which has got all the really cool pubs in it, and I was hoping to get down there in time, but I didn't. Damien Wyman. Now there's a typo going on there. It says, do you like fishing? Now that could be fishing, or it could mean something completely different. And I'm going to say to you that the last time I fished was at a trout farm at Pickering, and I was about, I'd be about 14 or 15 years old. And it's not really a challenge fishing at a trout farm, is it? Because you just put your line in, out comes a trout, job done. You know, it's guaranteed catch. And that was with Dad. Long time, like I said, a long time ago when he was around. Great fun, but not as much fun as riding motorcycles and quad bikes, so I didn't really pursue that hobby. Lots of people here in New Zealand are great fans of fishing. Lots of people at work. Many of my friends do go out on the boats on the weekend and fish, but there are very, very strict quotas over here, I understand, on what you can and can't bring back to land. So that's something for other people to know more about than me. I'm not really a fisherman. I really am. So, what else have we got? Andy CFR. Hi Andy, are you from Hull originally? Oh golly, hang on, there's right, so are you from Hull originally? No, not from Hull. Originally, well, I was born in Kendal, so officially I'm not a Yorkshireman. But I came 5 weeks early, and I was very quickly whisked back into Yorkshire in Dad's Mini Cooper, and I was called a Yorkshireman, and I've stuck with it. I've always lived in Yorkshire all my life, other until I moved over to New Zealand, obviously 10 years ago. But no, I really sort of, where we lived in York for a while, and then we moved out to a little village called Sheriff Hutton, where Richard III had his castle. What's left of it, there's not much left now, but Richard III had I think it was really more of a hunting castle. It wasn't their permanent residence, I don't believe. And once we moved out of Sheriff Hutton, I'd set up my off-road driving centre. I then slowly made my way up to the North Yorkshire moors and ended up in a little place called Bickley. And we lived at a farm in Bickley and ran the off-road driving centre. I did that 15 years before I came out to New Zealand. So there you go. What else have we got? Aidan, can you message me the confirmed dates for the trip so I can plan the meetup? I can. As soon as I know and I get the airline tickets, I will know, but they haven't come through yet. Would you ever move back to the UK or live your life in New Zealand? I do miss England, but from what I understand England isn't the same as the England that I left 10 years ago. It's somewhat, I'm trying to be PC here, it's somewhat diluted, even out where I used to live. It's just different. I wouldn't be able to do what I did in England before. I've been there, done that. That chapter is well and truly closed. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Any customers that end up watching this that came to the off-road driving centre, much appreciative of you guys coming down and supporting the business. But the noose was tightening. The red tape, we operated in a national park, the red tape was, well, it was strangling the business, to be honest. We had to get planning permission and all that kind of stuff. And the restrictions that the national parks put on the business, realistically, combined with other stuff going on in the background, was just way too much. So I thought, I've already bought a house in New Zealand. It's time to push the buttons, as the sugar babes would say, and get the hell out of there, which is exactly what I did. And do I enjoy my life here? yes, I have definitely made my mark here in New Zealand. I have lots of friends, and probably there wouldn't be an Andy Mechanic YouTube channel if I hadn't come to New Zealand. So there you go. Aidan, are you still planning on staying a couple more days over in Australia? Yes, I will do my very best. I don't see a problem with that. As soon as I get notified the dates, then I'll be able to push the return flight back a couple of days, and then I can go and meet some of my ex-students that live over there. When I was a lecturer at Unitec, there's Ashton, and there's Brennan, and I think there's another one out there now as well. So, and of course a couple of good friends that have moved over there as well. So I'll do my very best to do the rounds before I end up flying back to New Zealand. Absolutely. You've got to seize those opportunities while you can, haven't you? Okay, what else have we got? Gary Garnett, fishing is a patience tester, a bit like golf. It is. Yeah, I mean, I can't really comment. I just don't see, I see a lot of dead time with fishing. Diagnostics is also a patience thing, but there's also a lot of, procedure to doing diagnostics. And I enjoy the challenge, working your way through a set procedure to find out a conclusion as to what the problem is, ultimately fixing the vehicle, and hey presto, runs correctly, whatever it is, engine fault, and gives you that sort of sense of satisfaction that you've done that. And learning new tools. I mean, over the last couple of years I've been learning how to use the old picoscope, and very fortunate that picoscope sponsored the channel, and they've been very tolerant on the fact that I am out and about an awful lot, don't have that much time to make videos using the scope, but wherever I can, possibly, I do. And I would strongly recommend, if you are in the world of diagnostics, a scan tool just isn't enough these days. You do need some kind of a scope, whether it's a pico or whatever. I mean, Erico's shown a little tiny scope, an orange one that he has, I forget the name of it, cost him about 150 bucks, 200 bucks. And it really is palm size, and it works really well. It's basic, but it gives you what you need for most situations. What else have we got? We've got Wayne. Hi Andy. My wife Gayla says hi. Hi Gayla. I'm sure I've got a shirt that will fit you somewhere. Anyway. Aidan, my girlfriend's parents manage a motel. I'm Muswellbrook, New South Wales. Might be able to stay at. Oh, fantastic. Well, that'd be great news. If you can put me up for a night, that really makes life a lot easier. What size is the air compressor? Well, it's a single motor, single head. It's a 90-litre tank, and I believe, it's single phase, and I believe it's about 13 CFM, which is about half the size of the one I had in England. That was a twin head, well, twin pump, twin motor compressor on about 250 or even a 300-litre tank. It was a big air compressor, and it was the biggest one that I could buy that was single phase at the time. And it had a stage start, so one of the motors would start up first to get up to speed, and then the second one would start. Really useful and really good for running the shot blasting cab that we had over there. Life rebooted. What are your future plans for your channel? Any Andy Mechanic Tool Girl calendar photos, video shoots? Well, we did try to do a calendar for the end of 2008, 2009, so released January 2019. Didn't happen, unfortunately. The workshop move well and truly got in the way of that. So I am hoping, and there's no reason why I can't, because I've got lots and lots of footage that hasn't yet hit the channel where I can lift really good stills from to put on the calendar. So I just need to get my act together and get organised. So hopefully at some point this year there'll be a calendar, and it'll be done for charity, by the way. It's not going to be a money earning mission or task for Andy Mechanic. You guys and what I earn from YouTube and Patreon especially is a great help, and that's enough for me, to be honest. I'm quite happy with the way things are going. It does fluctuate, does the income, and of course it does cost. I mean, I've got to buy, in fact, here's some news. Just after I moved house, I plugged in, all my computer and my hard drives and everything to start editing again. And the one hard drive that had all the original rendered videos on, that's nearly 600 videos, didn't work. I was absolutely gutted. I really was. I did the mechanic thing, and I plugged it into my laptop as if that would recognise it, and it wouldn't. so I took the cover off. I wanted to see if the motor was actually spinning inside the hard drive. Now I know that you can't, it's a really dodgy thing taking a hard drive apart and not contaminating it. So I just lifted the lid quickly and then closed it to see if the disc was spinning, and it wasn't. So I left it plugged in for a whole day, and eventually the PC found it, and I managed to copy all those files. If not, I would have lost every single Andy Mechanic original video, the ones that are of high quality, not the ones that are on YouTube, which YouTube sort of, you know, condenses to keep the file sizes down. That was like almost 3 years worth of work. I got it back, but I do keep all the rushes as well, and I do also keep the sort of the work in progress files that I edit. So there's almost like 3 lots of space taken up with every video that I make, just to try not to lose anything, because you never know what you need in the future. But no, there's lots and lots of stills that I can, well, there's lots of video that I can pull stills from to create a calendar. So watch this space. It's not going to happen tomorrow, but it should happen in 2019, hopefully. What else have we got? Aiden, it's about 3.5 hours from Sydney. That's all right. I'll just steal a bike from work. Tyler Henderson, what? Will the tool curls be at Taupo? Yes, they will definitely be coming on board, coming into the workshop and carrying on, helping me out with certain videos as and when needed. At the moment, the workshop's not really ready for them, to be honest. The concrete floor itself is a bit dodgy. There's some different levels in there, and there's, you know, I've taken out some walls, so there's some bits of concrete missing. So I've got to tidy up the floor, because they do tend to wear some pretty specific PPE boots in there. And well, if there are any ladies listening, which I think there are, there's 1 or 2, Gayla, for example, walking around in 5-inch heels on a bad concrete floor surface that's undulating and there's a bit of gravel on there and stuff, man, it's just going to be an accident waiting to happen. So I have to get the workshop sorted out properly before the tool girls can come back and give me a hand. But it's okay, they're all on a bit of a holiday. They'll be in a jacuzzi somewhere, you know, sunning it up and enjoying life, I'm sure. What does your wife think of the calendar? I don't know, she's not seen it yet, I haven't made it. But I'm sure she'll be fine about it, because you've got to remember that, you know, and I try to make this really clear to everybody that I come across. The Andy Mechanic YouTube channel exists on the internet. You know, I don't, apart from now when I'm filming, obviously I've got the shirt on, but I don't wander around all the time in the Andy Mechanic persona. I'm wearing all the Andy Mechanic gear, and maybe the tool girls do, I'm not sure, I've got to check on them. It'd be quite cool if they did. But, wow, it's getting windy. But you know, I do have a full-time job, and I want to make sure I keep hold of that. And that's one of the reasons, just to be clear, why I don't make any videos at the moment covering Yamaha products. Because, you know, that's a bit of a conflict of interest, you know. My job is with Yamaha, and that has to come first. Okay. Yeah. Alright, Gary, I got the message. You're all good, mate. Oh, DJ Spy Dermot 1 is back. Just joined. Place, pub? Yeah, of course it's a pub. That's what these road trips are all about in an evening. Visiting various pubs around New Zealand and sharing some time with you guys so you can ask me a few questions. And this is, just to confirm, it's in Wellington, that's where we are now, and it's the Lief. They call it a cafe, but it's actually a Belgian pub. And maybe I can just twizzle you around a little bit and we can have a look. Here we go. Alright, so there you go. Look. That's the entrance to the pub. Another door there. And where are we? We're on... Is there a street name? I don't know. I can't see a street name. Sorry, crew. But Google it. You'll find it. There's only one in Wellington, so it shouldn't be a problem. Okay. How's that? We good? There we go. Okay, what else have we got? Shannon Austin. Here we go. Love the videos. Keep it up, mate. From Christchurch. Hey, Christchurch. Well, I'm going to be in Christchurch in a few weeks' time, so there will be, no doubt, a live broadcast from Christchurch, and I've got exactly the pub in mind. It's a pop-up pub. I forget the name of it, but there's lots of motorcyclists turn up there. Some really classic bikes turn up as well on the biker nights. So I'll try and time that so that I'm on one of the good busy nights. S&A Auto Repair. Sorry I'm late, my friend. Yes, pub number 12. Actually, pub number 2, because the first live stream was from the hotel. I wasn't brave enough to do this out in public. Just took a bit of balls and not asked permission to film on the premises. We might get stopped at any point, just like the last pub. But they seem to, after I finished filming yesterday, the Rose pub in Napier last night, they were very appreciative of me filming and putting the pub on the map for them. Now, Tyler Henderson, what's the worst part of New Zealand? That's a really good question. Just like any country, there are going to be some dodgy places as well. I drove through a village today actually, on the way between Napier and Wellington. In fact, it was between Napier, just to narrow it down a bit. I forget, it was a Maori name, I forget the name of it. Between Napier and Dannyburg, which was my first call this morning. Man, it was dodgy. Pretty much every other house had a stripped car out in the front garden and just scrap and stuff piled up. It wasn't really a place that felt particularly welcoming, so obviously I kept going. There was no cafes, there was no shops, it was just a few houses. I don't really like to sort of diss any towns as such, but I suppose Greymouth's a bit overcast and sad, but in fact right down the west coast of the South Island it has one of the highest rainfalls, if not the highest rainfall for New Zealand. And the last time I rode a bike up there was weather warnings and torrential rain and high winds, and it was, to be honest, just a miserable experience of about 8 hours trying to ride as fast as possible to get as far north as we could. Got to Greymouth and the sun came out, so maybe Greymouth isn't all that bad, I don't know. Where else? It isn't that bad, to be honest. It really isn't. The South Island, I love the South Island. I think the South Island and the scenery and the terrain is a lot more rocky and arid, and there's some big mountains down there. Really, really cool. Would I live in the South Island eventually? Eventually, yes, of course I would. Get out on the North Island. It's too wet, too green, and there's too many people. There's a lot of people. Wellington's pretty busy. Auckland is absolutely heaving now. It's full of people, and the traffic is horrendous. Now, S&A Auto Repair. You ever come into the States? My V-Star is serviced and ready. Some nice rides here. I am. Don't tell Eric O. It's a bit of a surprise, please. But I will. I am hoping in 2019 to make it over to the States and come and see Eric. If it's not going to be this year, it will definitely be next year. And of course, I'll be doing the rounds. I want to go on a bike trip, explore and do stuff. Don't know how long I'll be there for. We'll wait and see. It all depends how much time I can get off work. Given the fact there's only me that does this particular job here in New Zealand, it's very, very difficult to get cover. It really is. I'm always in demand. Anyway. S&A Osborne, New York City, let me know. I will, most definitely. I'll do a video to plan my trip and get you all on board when that happens. Damien Wyman, yes, give you a call and we can go fishing. I'm just trying to decipher that. Yes. Of course, I will contact you and we can do that. No worries, it'll be great. You can teach me how to fish properly, because I have no idea, to be honest. What's RMD? What is your beer of choice? Well, believe it or not, I'm a cider man. I enjoy my cider. I'm not averse to some beer, and I often get offered a beer at the end of the day when I'm leaving my final visit, visiting the dealers, the mechanics there. I love to have a beer with me before I leave, and it'd be wrong to say no, wouldn't it? So you have a beer, have a chat, wind down, and away you go. And I suppose beer-wise, definitely not Stella Artois. They serve Stella Artois here. All it does is give me a headache the next morning, a hangover. That's a one-way, mate. Prius drivers, fantastic, aren't they? Trying to go up a one-way street. Big sign saying no entry, but hey, that's what happens. If Sella, my fellow lecturer from Unitech, is watching, Sella has a Prius, and he used to ride, and maybe still does, what was it? A Buell, which is a Harley-Davidson engine in a smaller frame. And he went from that, we had many, many good rides out on bikes. He went from that to driving a Prius. And he's never, ever going to live that down. And I'll send him a link to this video just to let him know that I've dissed him on air on a live stream. A live stream? A live stream, there you go. What else have we got? Yes, been to Queenstown. Queenstown, I have. I've been to Queenstown many, many times. I've been very, very fortunate. In fact, I was only down there about 3 weeks ago. I met up with my eldest daughter, Charlotte. She's down there with her boyfriend, and she's just moved to Queenstown. She's managed to get a job. She's a chef, and she walked straight into a job. She's a really, really good chef. She was trained by Sky City here up in Auckland, and she's really creative. She does more of the pastry stuff, the desserts, and she's good. She's really good. I'm very, very proud of her. So if you're watching this, Charlie, good on you, girl. Well done. But no, I do visit Queenstown at least 4 times a year, if not maybe 5 or 6. It just depends what else is going on with work. Yeah, it's great fun down there. I have made quite a few friends. I remember being stories. We need stories. I remember being sat at a pub in Queenstown. I forget the name of the pub. It's an English pub. It's just by the bridge in the town centre. So somebody may know the name. They've got little flames and stuff outside. And I was sat there very late at night, sipping my last cider of the evening. One of the waiters came up, the barman came up, and he said, he sat down, had his drink with us, and he said, "You know what?" He said, "Are you a mechanic?" And I've been looking at the stats on the YouTube channel and stuff. And I said, "Well, yeah, I'm a mechanic. What's wrong?" He says, "Oh, I've got an old Mini, and it doesn't start very well." So we basically went through the method of diagnostic of how to test the starting circuit and the ignition barrel and the starter solenoid. And on Minis, the solenoid is remote. It's not actually on the starter motor itself. And he seemed very happy, and I got another cider out of it, so it was great. I forget his name, but it was a good evening. We must have been talking for about an hour. I even showed him one of the videos that I'd made on how to do those tests. Now then, what else have we got? Oh, got to read back to find out where we are. SA also, yeah, David Wyman, yeah. Andy CFR, what exactly is your business outside of YouTube? Just a genuine mechanic? I have to be very, very careful about how I describe what I do for work. I really have to keep my employment separate to my YouTube channel because it's... Anyway, so my role, I won't name any brands and so on, but my role is that basically I provide technical support for a major motorcycle manufacturer, obviously importer based here in New Zealand, and they have a number of dealerships around New Zealand, franchise dealers, and if they have a problem with diagnostics or they require some workshop training, or they have a problem with their diagnostic tool or whatever it is, anything to do with sort of service, the workshop side of things, then I am the guy that they call. I also do research as well, so if we have if there's a new model of vehicle go out to market, then and maybe there's a problem, then I'm sent, or I go out to that local area and try and work out what the problem is. Is it a design flaw, which often it isn't, or is it bad usage or bad maintenance or whatever? It's a very, very interesting job, and I'm extremely proud to work for that manufacturer, and nothing will allow me to jeopardize that employment. It took me a long time to get that job. It was a 7-year plan to be successful to get that role. There is only one role here like that here in New Zealand for that manufacturer, and I have it. And it takes me all over New Zealand pretty much all the time, and that's one problem. When I was a lecturer, I could make videos even in the afternoons. I'd finish about 3:30, blast home on the KTM, make a couple of videos, and I can't do that now. I'm away from home a lot, and hence why I'm doing the live stream. Just to see if that works. And to me, how many people? Oh, I've got 28 people online, so that's great. Got some thumbs up. So it fills in my evening too, because believe it or not, when you're out on the road all the time, or nearly all the time, it does get quite boring. Sure, there's lots of activities in every town. Well, the bigger towns and cities, strip clubs, bars, all that kind of stuff, where you can go and entertain yourself. It does get quite costly, so you've got to sort of draw the line somewhere. And of course, Mrs. Mechanic does get a little bit upset if she finds a strip club receipt in my coat pocket. It's not good, is it? And I'm sure you know what I mean. What else have we got? Here we go, some more questions. Tyler Henderson, what year did you start teaching at I think it means Unitech. I was there 2011 2013. I was teaching at Unitech. Well, I started for the manufacturer I'm working at now 2017. I was there 5 years. So it'd be 2012 to 2017 was my time at Unitec, and I left back end of April 2017 was my last semester. And I think I even left mid-semester because I needed to move jobs urgently. They needed me. RMD, you are correct. Okay, we've got 1967 DKB, so the car made it. It did. The little the Suzuki Alto 660, the little tenacious 3-cylinder 4-stroke, made it 4,500 kilometers because it was a higgledy-piggledy kind of a journey for Charlotte and her boyfriend. Adam. Sorry, Adam. Charlotte and Adam headed down, and they did 4,500 Ks completely trouble-free. They had no problems at all with the car, other than the fact that they said it was very, very slow. But don't forget, 660cc 4-stroke engine in a little car, loaded to the gunnels, 2 bicycles hanging off the back. Of course it was going to be slow on the big hills. That's just a little car for you. It's only a town car, it's not designed to go to Queenstown. But it lives down there now, and it's working really well, and it's helping them out enormously, and I'm very proud that they're looking after it for me. What else have we got? Grumpy old Dave. Hey up, Dave. How did you end up going with projector jump starter? Well, in all honesty, I bailed from the projector. There was a couple of videos you might find on the channel where I purchased a projector voltage stabilizer, and I actually bought it because I needed one for work, not personally. And after I used it, it did the job, but I noticed the voltage fluctuating on the screen. It wasn't holding or maintaining the set voltage that I set the tool to, which I think was 14 volts. So I did some tests using the picoscope to see, what was really going on in depth. And those videos are live, they're on the channel, you can watch them. And ultimately, I sent those videos through together with the Pico files and bits and pieces to first of all the New Zealand importers, then it migrated across to Australia and probably went elsewhere, I don't know. And they basically came back and held their head high and said, look, you're right. It's very surprising what you found. Nobody's tested these voltage stabilizers like the way that you have, and really, probably you're better off with a refund. So I took the refund. I did. And spent the money on something else. Not hookers, obviously, but other things. Tools for the workshop, no doubt. Life rebooted, welcome back. Just tell the wife that the strip club receipts are for your tool girl tryouts. Now, you're on exactly the right lines. I was actually thinking possibly about organising, a one-off tour girl for the live streams at each town or each city at least that I visit, and just getting them dressed up in the tool girl gear, and coaching them from a strip club for the night. But then I started to price it up, and man, it's going to be expensive, so it probably isn't going to happen. But hey, who knows? Maybe one day. What else have we got? Aidan, live stream once a week? Yes, definitely. I think it's probably going to happen. So I've got to be very careful of timings because a lot of people watch these videos that are based in the US. So I've got to sort of really be conscious of their time frame. If I was to do a video, say about 9 PM New Zealand time, say on a Saturday night, because I'll have had a few ciders by then that would be probably a good time in the US, maybe, tell me. But it would certainly be a good time in the UK. It would be about 8 or 9 AM Saturday morning, because they're behind on the time tours here. So maybe I've got to sort of work out the timings, but whatever we decide, we'll try and do it the same time every week. And I'll do the live videos, or the live stream, before I actually set up the workshop and make videos, basically. I'll get on my day's jobs. What else have we got? Matterwicks, hi Andy. Can you bring back an Asian tool girl? There are many Asians here in Wellington. I will do my best for you, sir. No problem at all. What have we got? DJ Spy David 1. When I went to Surfers Paradise, the strippers were telling me I was allowed to touch them. There's a lot of stripper talk tonight, isn't there? I couldn't believe it. It was the best time I had in a strip club in Oz. Correct. Shit, I hope the wife doesn't watch this. You are correct. they will allow you to touch them, but you have to ask first. If you touch them first without asking and get permission, you're out on the pavement. Simple as that. But you'll probably get a warning first, but you know. SLA Auto Repair, manufacturer anonymous for privacy, obviously. What are your thoughts on the new Star Venture? No idea, not seen it yet. I'll have to look on the net. I haven't seen any releases at this end for New Zealand. Friendship again. Oh my god, you're my neighbour. This is so weird. What? Which address? Auckland? Or 300 k's south of Auckland? I'm not going to give away where I live at the moment, that'd be ridiculous. Well, introduce yourself next time you see me around. If you do, there you go, that'll work. Okay, we've run out of questions. Is the audio still good? I don't know. What time are we on? 35 minutes! Holy crap, it feels like 5 minutes. I need another cider, hang on. I'd rather, okay, that's fine. You don't need to say, just introduce yourself when I'm at home next, okay? Easy. Otis PL, yes. Aaron, audio is good, thank you very much. Cheers, Damien. Good to know, the wind does seem to have died down a little bit. So, we've got probably 5 or 10 minutes left of this live stream. Any questions you'd like to ask me? Come on, go for it. Dead air is the worst thing you're going to have on a live stream. I was watching a couple of videos YouTube produced on how to do good live streams, and of course, if I had a tour girl here, I'm sure we'd have a few more than 31 viewers, but hey, life is life. And to be fair, if Lily was here now dressed up as a tour girl, I'd probably get moved on pretty quick. But that's work in progress, so watch this space. I've just seen another one, Otis PL, the Honda Grom. Yes, I've heard of that. 125cc is rated at 134 miles per gallon. That is phenomenal. What can you really expect with the average riding? Definitely not 134 miles per gallon. 125, obviously it's a 4-stroke to achieve that, so I remember the old Honda CG 125s are bloody good on fuel too. 80, 90 miles per gallon? I mean, to give you an idea, on my KTM, it's a 640 LC4, 2006 Supermotard, you've seen it in some videos. That bike has, I would say it's probably about a 14 litre tank, maybe a little bit bigger. I can empty that tank in 100 kilometres, that's 60 miles, if I ride it hard. You know, so it has got a lot to do with the ride. If I ride it real careful, I can get about 240 kilometres out of it. If I'm, you know, touring New Zealand on it or something, I'm just taking it nice and steady. So there's a massive difference. Obviously, fuel-injected bikes will be more economical. The fuel is measured more accurately. And of course, when you roll off the gas, modern bikes nowadays, they cut the injector pulse. There is no fuel going to the engine. I was working on an ATV today, and you can see exactly that. The opening duration of the injector, the millisecond duration, dropped to 0 when you shut off the throttle and the engine RPM was coming down. And that's done for emissions and, of course, fuel economy. How much is a pint in Wellington? Well, it's not a pint. It's probably about half a pint. It's a bit stingy down here. This was $9.50 for whatever size it is, but believe me, it's probably about half a pint. Bloody expensive, actually. What else? Do I like trees? Yes, I do like trees. I worked in a forest for 15 years with the off-road centre, and I felt very at home in a forest. Although I did have to chop the old one down, which is, mind you, that was mainly windfall, you know, stuff that had already fallen down. I had the tracks to clear, so fired up the old chainsaw and did lots of dangerous stuff, and then dragged the bits out with the Unimog brake on. A Rotax will drink fuel. I mean, you know, some engines are tuned for performance. They're not going to be very economical. It's give and take, you know. Are you going to the? Am I going to the BAFTAs? No, I'm not going to the BAFTAs. Matterwicks, scooting around Auckland is the best way to get around now. What are your views on scooters? So you're talking the little 50cc scooters as opposed to these Lime scooters that are now around, because the Lime scooters actually were pulled out of Auckland for 2 weeks. They've just been reinstated. I think they're a great idea. as long as people treat them and respect them correctly. They're very much open to abuse. That's the problem. And humans being humans will do silly things on motorized vehicles. Petrol scooters, I think the future actually is for an electric scooter, but it has to have a decent battery. I mean, you only really stay in a town with a scooter, so it lends itself very well to being electric and be charged up. But it has to have decent power and decent range. And gone are the days of two-stroke scooters, unfortunately. I love two-strokes, but the pollution, it's not good, is it really? It smells great, but it doesn't help the environment. Poor polar bears, you know. How much is your hotel per night in Wellington? Well, there you go. Actually, that's quite true. I won't tell you which hotel I'm staying at. But when I turned up today, admin had made an error. We use an agency to book all the hotels and stuff. And tonight's booking was actually made for the 7th of August, not the 7th of March, which is today, here in New Zealand. So I rock up at the reception and they go, "Oh, you're not booked in till August, mate, you're a bit early." And I was like, "Well, obviously it's an error, can you fix it?" So I've got to send the agent an email tonight and tell them that they're a bit of a plonker and to sort it out with the hotel. But they put me up, but they said, "Hey, look, we haven't got the standard room," and I think down in Wellington it's probably about nearly 300 bucks, maybe even 350 bucks for the room for one night. It's expensive, and I do get told off for booking nice hotels, but you know, I'm worth it. Plus, you know, you need a nice hotel if you're gonna entertain, there's the word. So they said, "We're gonna have to give you an upgrade." I've got a room that's got 2 bedrooms, 2 double beds, 2 bathrooms, a lounge. It's awesome. It's probably valued at about 500 or 600 bucks for the night, easy. I have no idea what they're going to pay for it, but that's not my fault. I didn't mess up the booking. Anyway, what else have we got? Are you having a good time? I'm having a great time knowing that you guys are here with me. If I was on my own, I'd probably be on my 3rd cider by now, and then looking for trouble, no doubt. Yes, electric scooters, yeah, they will definitely be the future. I mean, it goes without saying, doesn't it, really? Your top 3 road bikes. Jeez. Okay, well, I am very, very impressed by the MT10, especially the SP. A friend of mine bought one, not too long ago, actually. He works his name is John, and he works as a barber up in Auckland. John the barber, he knows exactly who he is. I won't give any more details out, but he bought one a few months ago. I organised the deal for him, got him a good price, and he's already done, I think he was telling me the other day, he's already done 12,000 kilometres on that bike, which is phenomenal. And he was toying with the idea of getting a Suzuki or getting the MT10 SP, and I managed to talk him into spending a bit more money and getting the MT10, and wow, he's very, very grateful that I did. Phenomenal bike. I've done a couple of services on it now. He's looking after it really well. Put a full aquapobic system on it as well. Couldn't do a video on it because, again, it's the brand that I can't film. But no, awesome machine. Other bikes, believe it or not, I'm very, very impressed by the MT-07 as well. They are really good bikes, and you know, I do favour that brand. Road bikes as well. What else? I would say the VMAX, but it's so specific. It's so specialist bike that it's not really all that practical sometimes. You know, it's a big machine and great for a straight line. Fantastic for the American market. But here in New Zealand, the roads, I don't know. I've not ridden one too much around here, so can't really comment. You've got to make up your own mind. What else have we got? I'm not too concerned about the CO2. Well, no, CO2 is harmless. It's carbon monoxide is the problem. Content in the atmosphere. What is your favourite mode of motorised transport? I had the most fun. Well, on 2 vehicles really. They were both off-road machines, I suppose. I love the little Suzuki Jeeps. I mean, I used to do lots of off-road driving in those and rolled them and tipped them end over end and got out and pushed them back on the wheels and carried on. They were awesome little machines. But I remember having a lot of fun in my motorised go-kart. It was a racing go-kart which I used to use around the garden on the grass and gravel, and it was just awesome, great fun. But I was only a kid, it was sort of my first thing. That Honda SS70 that I had as well, I mean, I rode that for a couple of years, from about 12 to 14 years old, and you know, covered hundreds and hundreds of miles across fields on it, and it never ever let me down. I mean, sure, things broke, but I mean, you know, easy fix. Now, well, I have my KTM 640 LC4, I've got two of them, and I've probably covered in total about 80,000 kilometers between the two bikes. Again, neither have ever let me down. Oh no, that's wrong actually. One of them did. Blew the main bearings. It was the left-hand main bearing that failed because Andy put 91 grade octane fuel in it and didn't unplug the little plug next to the ECU to tell the ECU to change the ignition timing. It's a carburetor bike, and it had pre-ignition, and 20,000 k's later it blew a main bearing. Yep, I made mistakes too, but I was unaware that's what you had to do, because guess what? I didn't read the manual either. I'm an idiot. What else? Oh yeah, and of course, the bike that I enjoy the most is the WR450F that I've got. Ben's got one as well. His is in super motard spec, mine's in off-road spec. Just an awesome machine, it really, really is. Just inspires me every time I ride it. And no, I can't ride it to its limits by any means. Now then, life rebooted. Yes, it is windy Wellington, you're right, it's sort of calmed down a bit. Life rebooted, I want to thank you for putting up such an entertaining and also informative channel. We both enjoy your channel. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. I have put a hell of a lot of effort, as you can probably guess, into building the channel up. And it's really only, I mean, the channel's always evolving, and I've never done live streams until this week. But the more I do them, the more I enjoy them, and the time just flies by. So I do hope you're enjoying it too. I mean, we will get back to doing the scheduled videos again at the weekend. Now, I read one there, have you ever fallen off? Have you ever fallen off a bike on the road? I've come off twice on my GSXR 250, once was going to Wellington. What? How the hell did you fall off a bike going to Wellington? The roads aren't that bad, surely, unless you're on the gravel. Yes, I have fallen off many motorcycles. Probably the most entertaining fall off was I had my brother Phil on the back. We were coming back from Strensall to Sheriff Hutton. I would have been about 18, yeah, probably about 18 years old. Obviously had a full motorcycle license at that point. And we were racing this Mini Metro. It wasn't a Mini Metro Turbo because it would have left us for dead. It was just a standard Mini Metro, not particularly going that fast. 2-up on a Honda CM200 Twin isn't that fast. But I was holding the speed through the corners, you know, not really bothering to brake, just keeping it on the stop and ripping the nuts off the little engine. And then when you come into Sheriff Hutton from Strensall, there's like a real tight right-hander. And it's only a custom bike, so there's not a lot of clearance under the bike, you know, and you can easily deck the pegs on the road. And sure enough, with Phil's weight on the back as well, and he's not a big lad, but he did deck the peg, and I thought, well, that's all right. I'll just lift my leg up a little bit because the peg's fold up. And we kept leaning it over and over and over. And Phil was a good pillion, and there was unfortunately, there was a lump of tarmac sticking up out of the road. It wasn't a cat's eye, it was just a deformity in the road. Maybe it melted in the summertime or something. And there was this big lump of tarmac, and I hit it directly on the foot peg. And the next thing I know, the bike, me and Phil are somersaulting up in the air. We must have gone probably, well, it was at least 6 foot up in the air, maybe even 8 foot up in the air. We cleared the fence completely into this guy's garden. It was a hedge, it was. We cleared the hedge, but we didn't go through the hedge, went over the hedge, landed on his grass. The bike sort of tumbled over a couple of times. Various parts of my body decided to ooze some blood, and bits of skin fell off and things. Phil was sort of limping around once I came around, and the handlebars, it was a custom bike, so the handlebars were sort of bent like this. Well, this one, with the throttle, was bent all the way under, and it was like that. But hey, picked the bike up, we got it started, it smoked a bit, because obviously some oil had got in the cylinders, and we rode it home. Got it in the shed. Unfortunately, I used to rent out motorcycles back then, Sheriff Motorcycles it was called, and I had a spare bike and a few other spare bits and pieces, so we very quickly changed the handlebars, swapped the fuel tank because that had got a dent in it, made the bike look like it hadn't been in an accident, And I'm very, very pleased that I did, because the village Bobby, Mr. Policeman, turned up about 2 hours later saying, "Oh, I've had a report of a motorcycle accident down in the village. Was that you, Mr. Young?" And of course, no, it wasn't me, and I've obviously been in to change my clothes, and, you know, luckily, obviously, the full-face helmet protected my face, so he couldn't tell that I was injured underneath the clothes. But yes, I got away with that one. And it was only a 30-mile-an-hour speed limit, and we were going way, way above 30 mile an hour. And yeah, we did overtake the metro, by the way, and then sort of dropped into the corner, but just had a bit too much speed to get around the corner. A bit too zealous on the old throttle, unfortunately. Now then, what else have we got? Any idea how to build a Honda TRX 350? I just happen to have one that I need to put back together. Would be easy if I was the one that pulled it apart. Yes, there's nothing worse as a mechanic in starting a job or picking up a job halfway through. It is very, very difficult, because you know, you remember what you're doing when you're pulling it apart, and you just sort of reverse the process, and you know, you put all the parts out in order on the bench and label things up, and you've got a good idea, and the manual helps you. But when you're starting with just a big pile of bits, the chances of making an error are much, much higher. All I can say is good luck. It can be done. Have fun doing it and take your time, don't rush it, and always double check and try and understand from an engineering perspective what's going on in the gearbox, what's going on, you know, in the clutch area and all that kind of stuff, because that will help you to assemble it correctly. What else have we got? Will the tool girls wear less gear during winter? Less? Oh, come on. I think if they wear any less than what they wear now, I'll probably get banned from YouTube, and we really don't want that, because they are tightening up quite a bit on that kind of, well, I suppose nudity is what it will be. I have considered getting some Andy Mechanic, not for me obviously, for the tool girls, bikini tops made up, and I'm quite sure that will happen ready for next summer, because it's pretty hot even on those little shirts. Understandably, I have a legal obligation to provide them PPE that's suitable for the environment, and if the environment is really, really hot, then you've got to make sure your core temperature doesn't, you know, get too hot. Would I ever move to Australia? No, absolutely not. There are far too many things in Australia that would try to kill me. Sorry, Aid. Aaron, do you watch, or have you heard of Wheeler Dealers? I have. The car mechanic TV show. Yes, I've actually watched quite a few episodes, and I was actually watching a few videos on why their mechanic left. I forget his name now, sorry, but he left, and there's all sorts of mystery as to why he left. It's interesting. But no, I do still watch Wheeler Dealers. I think they do a great job. It's fun to watch, but however, in the real world, it wouldn't. Ed China, there you go. Thank you, John. Cheers, John. In the real world, they don't apply Ed's labour cost to doing the work. If they did, they'd lose money on pretty much every car they did up. So, for entertainment, it's great. For trying to make people realise that it's commercially viable to do up some of those vehicles, I would question it, to be honest. Anyway, what else have we got? Matterwix, have you heard of the Suzuki RE5 rotary engine motorcycle they made back in the 70s? Fascinating classic bike. Well, not the Suzuki one, but I sort of grew up in the era of the Norton rotary, and I remember going to Donington Park, and I think it was John Haslam. God, I was only young at the time. I think it was Mr. Haslam that was racing it, and I'm not kidding, that was by far the best race I have ever watched. Watching the Norton overtake all the other bikes on the straights, but the centrifugal force built up by the spinning rotors prevented the bike from being dropped into the corners when the engine was revving high, so he had to get the engine RPM right down before he could lean the bike into the corners, and to do that he had to slow the bike down, and of course the pack would then go past him on the corner, and then on the next straight he would overtake them all again, and it was phenomenal. It was really cool to watch. It was a real And clearly the Norton was faster at acceleration. Clearly it probably had the faster top end, but through the inherent design of the rotary in a motorcycle, it caused a tremendous amount of problems for cornering. And that's probably why it was dropped ultimately. What else we got? Matterwix, are people looking at you talking to your phone? No, they're not. I'm getting away with it again. I think maybe, just maybe, the general public now are sort of accepting the fact that people do this kind of stuff. They do live streams out on the street and at pubs, and maybe they do. I haven't seen it very often, but nobody's bothering me, so it's all good. We'll carry on. 55 minutes! Holy crap. Okay, we're going to round it up at an hour. I think an hour's enough, don't you? What else have we got? John Tyson, no worries, Aaron. Oh, hang on, okay. Private conversation going on. That doesn't look like cider. John, it is cider, believe me. It's cider. It smells of apples and it's definitely cider. And it tastes of cider. Okay. Oh, really? People were watching me earlier on. I have to watch the video. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Aaron, can you do a catch? Can you do a catch and cook, Andy? Oh, well, there's a joke and a start. You want me to cook? Holy crap. Find a cheap... Oh, hang on. Find a cheap mower or the likes. Oh, mower being a fish. I'm not a fisherman. And cook it for us. Really? You'd like to watch me cook something? I can do beans on toast. In fact, my signature dish, it sounds professional, doesn't it? Is, I almost forget. Signature dish is sweet and sour chicken on egg fried rice. Not very Yorkshire, is it? But I do like that, and I'm good at cooking it. So maybe one day we'll do something. Dad used to like kippers, I must admit. The house used to stink of kippers. Where are we now? Getting close. Chris Thompson, what do you think of the classic SR500? Well, actually, the SR500 shares the same motor as the XT500, and that engine has been around for many, many years. And recently, off camera, I actually prepared a couple of XT500s to go through certification here in New Zealand. A friend of mine imported them from South Africa, obviously used bikes, clearly. Didn't pay a lot for them, and he wanted me to give him a once-over and get them running for him. They're a strong little bike. Oh, hang on, we're losing power, we're down to 15%. Bear with me. I'm going to need to put the power pack into the phone, because we're going on longer than I thought. Now, fortunately, yeah, like you see, power pack, bloody good. Fortunately, I charged this up last night just in case, so just bear with me. It won't take a second. Haha, there we go. We've got power again. Don't know how long it'll last. Okay, so SR500, yeah, lovely little bikes. Believe it or not, I have an SR125 that we bought in Scotland for Mrs. Mechanic many, many years ago, and we brought it over to New Zealand. Unfortunately, I allowed it to get deregistered, so I have to go through now the process of getting it re-registered for New Zealand roads. Not difficult, I've done most of the work. It just wants the wheels need new spokes. I've got to relace the rims. I'll probably put new rims on as well, actually. New rims, new spokes. I've done the fork seals, chain and sprockets, all that kind of stuff. Full service. Done the valve clearances. Good to go, basically. And then parked it in the garage. But I will point out, it's got a motorbike battery on it. And this is the God honest truth. It was parked in the garage for a year. Drained the carb, turned on the ignition. Okay, it cranked for a while, but it started up. After a year of being parked, that battery held enough charge to start the engine. Unbelievable. There must be zero drain on that bike. Old school, you know. So yeah, SR500s, great little bikes, but they are kickstart, and you've got to get the the crank in just the right position. And there's a little window, but they're usually all covered in crap and you can't see. But you get a feel for it, and then give it a good crack with your right leg, and it will fire up. XL500 was a better bike, maybe. We have just sold, actually. Ben's just sold a Honda Dominator that I did some videos on, and that shared the same cylinder head as the XR650 as well. and the 650 was renowned for cracking the cylinder head, and no, you can't buy anymore. They've run out of stock upon the years ago, so it is a problem, and it causes erratic idle. That's the problem with the bike. If it's got erratic idle, it could well be a cracked head, and it's drawing air into the cylinder. And we didn't fix ours. We sold it as it was. Ben took a hit on it. I'd ridden it around the South Island. We'd had some fun out of it. What else we got? Gary Garnett. I could start my XL500 by hand, using kickstart, but wouldn't try it. No, if it kicks back, it can really hurt. Engine was warm as I was too scared to kick back and take my arm off. Yes, don't do it. It's dodgy. Even I remember starting a little scooter by hand when it was on the bench one day, and that kicked back, and it didn't break my arm, but it hurt a little bit. Do you agree Suzuki's are bulletproof motors? No, I don't. That was very Yorkshire, wasn't it? I worked on a scooter, a Suzuki scooter, and it's been renowned to be my Achilles heel. I think it's a GM12. It's a little 125 4-stroke scooter made by Suzuki. I forget the name of it. I tried to put it out of my mind, and they have some pretty weird electrics on them. They often burn the stators out. The charging systems are a nightmare because they normally take out the reg rectifier at the same time. And you've got to take 1,000 pieces of plastic off to get to anything. Other than that, yeah, I mean, Suzuki do make some good bikes. I used to have a Suzuki Beamish 250 2-stroke. Mr. Beamish made the frame. It was a chrome frame, and it had a Suzuki 2-stroke 250 air-cooled motor in it. And that was great fun, although I did have to do a few rebuilds, but it was probably my own fault because I was only a kid at the time and didn't really look after it very well. Other Suzukis that I've had, GP100 2-stroke, little commuter bike, great fun. I was given that. Suzuki LT50 quad bike, LT80 quad bike, the original LT50 that's got no suspension, bulletproof. The LT50A that's made in China, don't go anywhere near them, they're crap. We had two, one was crap, one worked okay, could never work out what the problem was. Swapped all the bits, was still crap. Anyway, LT80, Ben had one of those, absolutely phenomenal little quad bike, had so much fun riding it. And he rode that till he was about 15. It was way too big for it, but it went really well. We de-restricted it, obviously. Now then, what else have we got? That's it. Okay, what are we on? Oh, an hour and 2 minutes. Okay, well, I think, really. Any more quick questions, and I'm going to sign off. I'll sign off when I finish the cider. How's that? That's a good one. So I'll have another drink. I'm very surprised how good the image is on the camera and the lighting you're getting, even though it's starting to get dark here. So, what have we got? Aaron, how do Kiwis find sheep in long grass? Delightful. Come on, you can't say that anymore. Get into trouble. Not on camera anyway. I retract that entire last comment. I didn't make it. What else have we got? John Tyson, way back when I lived in Welly, I had a CB100. And that would have sniffed petrol. Awesome little bikes. Matowix, where are you going next? Well, next I'm going home. And it's about 400 odd kilometres north of Wellington. So that's a big drive tomorrow afternoon. And that's after I do my last, there goes the cider, last visit tomorrow morning, where I've got again some more training to do. Meeting the owner of the business. What else we got? Alexander Smith. Did you get the part for your new compressor? I haven't been to the PO box. I know somebody sent me one from the UK, and obviously if it's a fit, I probably will fit that because my fix might not last forever. Now then, Aidan, last one from Aidan. I was thinking about moving to New Zealand one day. Any tips? Yeah, don't move to Auckland. It's way too expensive. Wellington's probably too expensive as well. Christchurch, pretty cheap. It's not cheap, but it's cheaper. But bear in mind there might be the odd earthquake now and again. I'm not being funny. It's an earthquake zone, so just be careful. And getting the right kind of insurance for your house down there is a problem. I was, at least. What else have we got? Madowix, will you keep drinking after the... Absolutely, goes without saying. Pat Toolhill, what's for dinner? I don't know. I've not had time to look in the menu. I didn't order before the live stream because I'm not going to eat in front of you. That'll just make you all hungry and you'll probably get as fat as I am at the moment. Madowix, are you having dinner at the restaurant? How much are the meals? Well, let's have a look. I don't know. Let's find out. So, oh, they do lots of mussels, but I'm not a mussels kind of a guy. Let's have a little look. Main dishes. All right, so there you go. I'll run to the camera. Here's your main dishes, look. So what have we got? Main dishes, $12.50, $30, $31, $32. Yeah, so probably between $30 and $40 for something decent. In fact, yeah. Yeah, so your steak is about $40 New Zealand, which is a pretty standard. And it'll be a good steak. This is a good restaurant. I've been here many times, can't fault it. And the portions are huge. So if you're in Wellington and you're hungry, this is the place to go. Now then, last few, and we're still going, because there's still some cider left, so I won't drink that just yet. Okay. Steve Rollins, hi Andy. Meant to ask you yesterday, what does the missus think of the Tool Girls? Do you want the honest answer? Of course you do. It's all about transparency these days, isn't it? Mrs. Mechanic is not over happy, and you can understand why. I have a bit of a checkered history, as you can probably guess. I'm not the best husband in the world, and having scantily clad tool girls in the workshop, there's a lot of temptation, isn't there? Let's just put it to that way. But I'm very professional. Nothing happens. And of course, the tool girls themselves are extremely professional. You've got to remember, they are there, yes, to help me, they're there to do a job. And at the end of the day, they go home. And that's it. I don't see them again until they come back to help me again. And that's just the way it has to be, you know? I have a lot of fun with the tool girls. They're great company in the workshop, bit of a laugh too, and a lot of the behind the scenes stuff. It's hilarious, and no doubt one day I'll do a compilation video of it on 2 or 3. There's a lot of footage out there. I have to tread very thin ice having tool girls around. Mrs. Mechanic is not tolerant. She sort of accepts it, but not happy at the moment, and that's understandable. She sort of put up with it for about 18 months, and then, well, work in progress, put it that way. Especially now the workshop's moved down there to the new house and everything. It's a bit of an issue, but bear with me. You know, I can make videos outside the workshop on location with tool girls if need be, and I'm also planning, work in progress, I'm planning a tool girl tour where I visit various workshops around Auckland and maybe even other parts of New Zealand as well with a tool girl, and we get to explore the workshop and see what kind of equipment they've got and talk through the kinds of jobs that they get in, and hey, maybe they'll have a repair that we can help out with whilst we're there. Who knows? Like I said, work in progress, and that's really, you know, another way that we can evolve the channel and do a bit more to show you New Zealand, because it really is a cool place. It offers everything as New Zealand. Okay, I'm gonna have another sip of cider because we need to sign off soon. Okay, Aiden, I'll just move into your basement with all the tool girls. I was waiting for that, mate. They'd eat you alive, believe me. I only ever take one on at a time. There's no way you can down there. Jeez, it's getting windy. Okay, Madowix, go to Speaker's Corner Pub. Speaker's Corner Pub, I will. I'll do that, I'll find out what that is. Alexander Smith, right, it wasn't me, but you said to hold back with it because there was different diameters with fitments. There is. It's a bit of a minefield getting the right fitting for the air compressor, because there's the thread going into the tank, there's the thread for the output pipe, and then there was the thread for the little piggyback valve, which I think is the vacuum release valve on there. I don't have a thread gauge big enough to check the threads. Being plumbing sort of orientated, it's probably some weird kind of English thread, don't know. Like I say, work in progress. The suppliers that I've been to in Auckland to try and get one matched up, either were talking stupid money, and I think the last quote we got was about $280, which is just not going to happen. But we'll give it a go. So don't worry about sending anything else through for now. It is working, and it hasn't failed, and it's not leaking. It's absolutely airtight, so I was quite pleased with the fix. Okay, that's it. We've run out of comments. The side is going. It's been great to have you guys along. Oh, I'm in the pub opposite Parliament Building. I can't remember the name. Okay, well, Parliament Building, I think, is over there. I'm sure it is. So I'll have a wander up, see what I can find. Life rebooted. Have a good night. I will, guaranteed. Aaron, cheers, Andy. Have a good one. See you around, guys. It's time for some tea. Until next time, possibly see you on my Sunday morning-ish. I don't know, Saturday night-ish. We'll find out. Cheers. Over and out.